The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
Pooky.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh man, this is cool, man.
The Gremlins strike right off the bat.
Right off the bat. Hopefully they stay away. Hey, Fort Knox, what's going on, man? Fort Knox is here. Shit, yeah. We got Big Earl from Veteran Trash Talk. He's here. Don't judge me. But hey, man, we got some. I like to take care of the housekeeping on the front end, just because there's more folks here, and this is really important information to put out to everybody. So let me see. On this coming Tuesday is a really big show. We're gonna have actor, director, and producer Jonathan Frakes. He's going to be on with CQ and Radar and Pop Culture Warrior to talk about his latest projects in Hollywood. Jonathan has many great accomplishments in Hollywood over the past 44 years, but he is most recognized, at least by people in my generation, as Commander William T. Riker of the Starship Enterprise. So he's going to take time out of his probably very impressively busy schedule, and he's going to spend an hour or so with us on Tuesday. Tonight we have Miss Peyton Howie is going to be with us. Peyton Howie will be coming on at the top of the hour to talk about her newest single called Freedom. If you haven't had a chance to listen to this song, it's really, really cool. It just seems like there's just, when she wrote this song, it's like they just sat around like a campfire, just talking about what are you thankful for, in the United States? What makes you think of freedom? And it's a really great song. I'm gonna play that song plus her F-150 song during the break right before she comes on. And her music is it's cool, man. I spent the last couple of days watching several YouTube videos of her performing. There's like she did a thank you video for the folks over in California, where she I don't know the story behind that. Maybe Peyton can tell us. But it's really cool. It's just a bunch of candid shots of her, her on stage, her with their fans, folks dancing and having a good time. Anyway, it's going to be a fun time, man. I can't wait to talk to Peyton. It's going to be great. So that's what we have. That's all of our housekeeping right now.
That was pretty quick.
It was.
How's the week been, man?
You know what? I've had a pretty good week. It's been really busy. A lot of folks are taking vacation this week, so it's like me and one other technician. Normally we've got a pretty good complement of technicians, but it's just me and one other guy, and we're taking care of business. Air conditioning's been broke in the lab. Normally the lab stays at about 70 degrees, and air conditioning's broke. So it's been about 80, 85 degrees inside. It's been kind of uncomfortable, but when you're working, you don't really notice it.
Blizzard terrarium.
Kinda. It got fixed today. It wasn't too bad. Fortunately, it's not like 100,000 degrees outside.
It's been pretty warm here, man.
Yeah, you guys
we get that humid ass hot 90-degree air. You walk out and it's like you're taking a bath and it's like just drenched in sweat.
That's instantly. Might not be as bad as Houston, but hey, at least you got that going for you.
I honestly will tell you, I think this area is worse than Houston. I honestly think that. I lived in Houston for a while.
We just got a hello from Iraq. How you doing, Ali? Welcome to the show. Jeff Herbert. What's up, Jeff? Eric. Man, this is awesome. We got a really good crowd tonight.
D-Max said, I'm surprised Radar isn't here trying to be here.
So guess what, man? The Simpsons. I've got a list of stories I'd like to touch on. If I don't touch on all of them, that's fine. I did want to get a couple of them, but the Simpsons did it again. You know how the Simpsons have a knack of predicting the future? The Simpsons did it again. Fans noticed that the scene in a 2014 episode bore a startling resemblance to reality star Sir Richard Branson during his flight on the Virgin Galactic earlier this week. In the 2014 scene, viewers are seeing an animated version of Branson floating in zero gravity above in a spaceship. So check this out. Tell me what you think. One person wrote, quote, "How can the Simpsons show predict every damn thing?" The predicted scene comes from one of 4 appearances Branson had with the animation sitcom. This particular scene comes from the 15th episode of season 25, titled The War of Art. In this episode, there is an auction to buy a painting that ends up being a forgery. When Lisa Simpson confronts the forger, he explains why he thinks the forgery is acceptable because it brings pleasure to people. During his speech, there are multiple shots of people admiring the art. This includes one where Branson is floating in space with one of the forged paintings. While this may not be the most prescient of all time, The Simpsons actually had a solid track record of forecasting future events. The most famous example is Donald Trump becoming the president of the United States. I think they're up to like 18 predictions now.
They predicted the coronavirus.
There's a list. There's a website out there that has just a list and all the details behind their predictions. Some of them are not so, Nostradamus-like, but others are just like how like smartwatches. They predicted smartwatches like 10, 15 years. I guess when you
produce a show for 20 some years, eventually you're going to like hit reality at least a little bit at some point, I guess.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, kind of one of those things, but once or twice maybe, but 20, 30 times, I'm starting to wonder. There's someone up in there is like D-Max said, someone's working for the TVA,
But now Branson's out there. He's like, hey, who wants to go to space with me?
He said it was always one of his dreams. I heard his little speech while he was up there, and I think that's really cool that they were able to do it, but I don't get the concept of it. Is it you go to space for 30 seconds and then come back down and that's it?
Something like that. I mean, it's not like they're not going. They're actually reading the upper atmosphere. Is it space? Yeah, quote unquote. I guess it is, but it's not orbit.
Okay, I was curious about it. I was just really curious. I was like, what's the purpose behind it? Is it just hey, let's go to space and look around for a couple of minutes and then come back to Earth? I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of useless to me in my eyes. But then I'm a plebe like that, so
I don't know. I think it would be cool. It's not something I'd do now. It's probably not something I would do right now. If Richard Branson called up the station and said, "Hey, Koz, does anybody on the station want to go up into space with me?" I would probably not do it. Aaron Pence says he's doing it.
Nope. Like my feet on the ground. Even if they started flying people to Mars and stuff, the only way I'd get on a spaceship is if they had them Star Trek beam me up Scotty thing. And I'm like from the ground on a spaceship. I have no problem with that at that point. Okay, but other than that, no. So coming in and out of the atmosphere. No.
So you're on the surface of Mars and you want to go home because you're having some kind of equipment malfunction. And you say, okay, beam me up, Bezos, or beam me up, Branson, or beam me up, Elon. And they're saying,
beam me up, Daddy Musk.
And they say, hey, we're having a little bit of problem with the transporter. We can beam you up, but your beard's going to have to stay behind.
Beam me the hell up.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Grow that back. I could always grow that back.
All right. Yeah, I guess so. don't know. I think all that time for adventure and stuff is over. The skydiving, I don't know. I'd still go whitewater rafting and rappelling and bungee jumping, but
I'm already got to that point. Like, I don't know if you've seen that. I think it was like a Twizzlers commercial. It's that guy sitting in a passenger seat of the car at Twizzlers. He's having like kind of like, I guess they call it like an existential crisis. But he asks himself, "Am I too old to skateboard?" And the first thing that came to my mind is like, if you have to ask yourself that, you're too old.
Well, I did that. I was up in Montana, and I decided that I go skiing there a lot, but I always go skiing, and I'm thinking, am I too old to snowboard? I'd never been snowboarding before, so
Snowboarding is rough.
I spent the morning going through lessons, and then with the lessons comes a lift ticket, and after my lessons, I went back into the lodge, got a pair of skis, and then I skied for the rest of the day. That's a lot of work, man.
The snowboarding is fun, though. It's fun. I used to do it a lot. It takes a lot. It really burns up your core, man. It really does. There's a lot different from skiing. Like skiing's like all your knees and your thighs and stuff like that. Where
I think skiing is more balance. Skiing is more balance. You can do that. I think it's really easy. Snowboarding,
I was really good at skiing. I love snowboarding though.
I found snowboarding being a lot more difficult and a lot different. It's kind of like you're on a skateboard, but the skateboard doesn't leave your feet. And getting used to that was difficult for me.
Learning to fall is I will say the prime. Like I guess Aikido. The first thing they teach you in Aikido, like martial arts or whatever it is the art of falling. You got to learn how to fall with snowboarding. It's the same way. If you don't know how to do it, you're just going to spend the rest of the day or the rest of your ski trip or snowboarding trip miserable because you're just hurting the whole time.
I did spend an inordinate amount of time on my butt.
It happens.
Because you do. I mean, when you're braking, I mean that's what you do. You flare forward and you lean back, and I ended up not finding that sweet spot. And I spent a lot of time on my butt, man. I was a younger man then, too. Gosh, that was probably...
Couldn't even picture doing it now. I'd probably break every bone of my body. I have a hard enough time pushing a lawnmower around the yard without, like, my knee or something buckling out on me. So.
Take 3 steps and...
I make the dad noises when I get up and out of the chair. Like,
All right, Scott Rosa poses a question, not skiing or snowboarding related. He says, anyone else think it's too much of a coincidence that at almost exactly the same time we do a troop withdrawal in Afghanistan, the Haiti president gets assassinated, and there's big protests in Cuba? They just all happen to be happening right next to each other.
Coincidence, maybe? Or we're about to start our new war to liberate the Caribbean. I don't know.
Gosh, I hope not. This isn't the Bay of Pigs. I mean, everyone thought that they could do that with a local force and a very small offensive force, and it just didn't happen very nicely.
I don't know. Wasn't Cuba part of the United States at one point?
I don't know. Ice is that old. You can ask him.
He'd probably know that. I thought at one point, like after the Spanish-American War.
Well, way back when.
All those little islands out there that were owned by Spain all of a sudden became ours. So I don't know. I mean, we might go reclaim some territory. Russia can do it with Ukraine. Let's do it.
Shit. I don't see good things happening if that were to happen. I think President Biden could probably do a lot more than he's doing, which is pretty much nothing. I heard that there are like private boat owners, big boat owners that are running supplies into Cuba from Florida.
Send them some guns. Jeez. I don't know. I like I said, just stay out of that business. I just find the whole Cuba thing hilarious, but I I stay out of that. I don't talk about that.
It's just, I mean, it's just the way that the media is spinning it. It's just like, they're protesting because they don't have a lot of COVID vaccinations. I'm like, no, they're not. They've had the throat of
There's no food on the shelves. That's probably why they're protesting.
they've had the boot of government on their throats for a long damn time. You think they're kind of sick of it?
70 years now, yeah.
Yeah, they all have Kalashnikovs down there. You know what would be great is to see Cuba toss away the communist / socialist thing and become an economic powerhouse in the Caribbean.
In the Caribbean. Yeah. Dude.
They used to be. That used to be like all the movers and shakers and all the folks that had cash would go down to Havana and vacation.
It would be the Las Vegas of the Caribbean pretty much at that point.
That would be great. I'd love to visit Cuba.
Oh, I wish nothing more for them to get their shit straight. I feel bad for the people, but I also think if we're not going to intervene, we need to stay completely 100% out of it. Just leave it alone. Let the embargoes keep going. Everyone wants to blame the embargoes. I mean, we've had them embargoes in place for how long? I don't know. Years, 60 some years.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just let it go to shit at that point. Huh?
Well, I mean, they're bought and paid for by Russia. I mean, Russia's doing all the supporting over there. Why aren't they stepping in to take care of the people?
Dave brought up a good question about what about our troops in Guantanamo? I can't even pronounce it.
Guantanamo Bay?
I don't think anything's going to happen.
I don't think anything's going to happen either. We have a lease, like, what is that, a 100-year lease or something on that area?
Longer than that, probably. I don't think we'll ever give that up.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Panama Canal. We had a
lease on the canal, yeah.
We had a lease on the canal.
The bay is ours. I think that's our territory at that point. Huh? Have to look it up. I don't know. Don't quote me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on talking about that. I was like, I'm gonna take all the heavy stories and I'm gonna toss them aside. We're just gonna be kind of light. I've got a story that's kind of light. It's called "Surprise You're Dead." Is that light enough for you?
Surprise, you're dead.
Surprise, you're dead. There's actually a song out there called "Surprise, You're Dead," but surprise, you're dead. It's not country.
That's more like my music. I got you.
So this is happening in Linden, New Jersey. New Jersey woman has been battling the IRS to prove that she's still alive. This unfortunate mix-up began when her mother died. And 7 years later, the situation has not been resolved, causing a tax nightmare for the woman and her father. 25-year-old Samantha Dressage is a camp counselor, full of energy, and has a very optimistic view on life. She says life is short. You never know when it's going to end. But according to the IRS, her life ended 7 years ago. The last actual person I talked to, and this is a quote from her, she says, the last actual person I talked to at the IRS said, and I quote, "Wow, you're dead all over the system." The morbid mix-up began when she tried to file her taxes in 2014, the same year that her mom passed away. She believes the government has them confused even though they don't share a same first or last name. The IRS says, "Nope, sorry, this account's linked to a deceased person. We can't help you." The situation is now causing problems for her father's tax returns, and the IRS is telling him that he's in violation because he's trying to claim a deceased dependent.
This is why we need to abolish the IRS.
They're not very smart. Even when you talk to a person, you can't get anywhere.
Ooh, have you ever tried to call the IRS and deal with them?
I actually did. I had there was a super big delay on my refund. I got a refund this year for some reason, and it was taking a long time. I was approaching about 80 days, and normally it takes about 2 weeks. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to call the IRS, and then by the time I get home from work, the IRS office is probably open for another 20 or 30 minutes. So I'd
Oh,
call.
good luck getting on there with that.
So I would call, and it says, and here's what I got.
Yes. Everyone knows that sound.
Your call is very important to us. Please stay on the line, and your call will be answered in the order it was received. I mean, seriously, it was like 30 minutes of that, and then no one answers, and it was already after hours. So I would just hang up, try again the next day, and then try again the next day, and then all of a sudden, it was a direct deposit. It wasn't like they're mailing me a check, and then all of a sudden one day it just it showed up. So no, to answer your question, I've never spoken to anybody from the IRS.
No. I sat on the phone for 4 hours straight one day.
On hold?
On hold, getting thrown from department to department until I finally got a hold of the lady. Because I owed some taxes one year, and I was like, "Listen, I figured this out. I got to get into a payment program. You know, I can't afford to pay all this all at once." So I sat there for 4 hours just so a lady could tell me. I just wanted to confirm that my payment was going through. That's all I wanted to do, just to make sure. And I had 4 hours for a lady to go, "Oh yeah, your payment will come through at the beginning of the month." I'm like, "Thank you," and I hung up.
So you needed like an 8-second answer.
Pretty much, but I waited 4 hours for it. I don't.
Deb Poland says it's better than calling the VA. They start the recording by giving you the number for suicide hotline and homelessness. You are currently the 143rd person in line. Estimated wait time 6 days, 7 hours, and 20 minutes. Please stay on the line.
Bureaucracy is honest. I love it. You know, and it's funny though, is if you owe them money, they will be on you. Like, you need to pay now. You need to pay. But when they owe you money, they take their sweet ass time giving it to you.
You know what? And I go through that at work too, because our it's just it's the way our labor reporting kind of works. And if I do something wrong, I'll get paid for what I did wrong, and then I have to file it's a labor correction form. And that labor correction, so let's just say they overpaid me by $500 one week. And I tell them, hey, you overpaid me by $500 this week. I fill out all the information, and then it'll be like 6 weeks later. I come up like $500 short, and then it'll just say, this is because we overpaid you a month and a half ago. So anyway, she's been ghosted ever since. She's been trying to get all this fixed. So she called out to her local CBS affiliate, who called in her place to find out how this could happen. So they cornered someone in the parking lot, and then they ended up having a phone meeting with them. And the reporter said, she's definitely not dead. I just spoke with her, CBS told the IRS agent. And the IRS... Her last letter from the IRS states, quote, "These situations are difficult and may take some time to resolve." But that was like 7 years ago.
Yeah, at that point, I'd be barking up every like senator, not senator, freaking congressman in my state. Every single one of them. I'd be like, "Yo, I'm alive. I'm dead. The IRS won't fix my shit."
Your state representatives are extremely, extremely accessible. You just knock on you walk into their office and they'll see you. With the COVID crap going on, you might have to make an appointment.
Oh, how many times I've written a letter. Handwritten letters are the best. Make sure you write legible and you spell properly. But you send a handwritten letter, they will send you a letter back hand signed pretty much. Of course, they got their typists type things up or whatever it is. But we'll look into it. That's what they'll tell you. We'll look into this, and they're pretty quick. I actually have a lot of faith in that part of the system. Weirdly enough,
I've told this story before, but me and my kids, we sent George Bush used to be my governor here in Texas, and then he became president, and and so Junior, so I sat the kids down and we wrote a Christmas card to the first family, and the girls, my girls, like drew pictures and stuff, and we just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas, and we put it in the mail, and they were all happy that they sent the President of the United States a Christmas card. And then, I don't know, it was probably 3-4 weeks. It was toward the end of January, the beginning of February, we get a letter from the White House, and it was of course, it was a typed thank you note for the Christmas wishes and whatnot, and it was signed by President George W. Bush. That's pretty damn cool.
Pretty cool.
So yeah, Scott Rosa, that person is dead according to the IRS, but she's working. She works as a camp counselor, so she's earning a paycheck, and they're taking taxes out and everything. So she's not so dead that they don't take taxes out.
Oh yeah, they're getting her for her income tax and all that stuff, but they don't want to give her no tax rate. I see exactly how that's working. Nah. Well, if you're dead, can you commit a crime while you're dead?
Now, if she commits a federal crime, can she be prosecuted?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean a regular state crime maybe, but federal crime.
Federal crime. Oh, you're dead according to the government. So dead man can't commit crimes.
That's right. How can we E4 our way out of this?
It's straight mafia thinking.
Yeah,
right?
it is. It's okay. An unpleasant task enters. Okay, how the fuck can I get out of this?
That is crazy. Oh, I'm dead. Never mind. I'm not here. I'm gone.
You can't arrest me. I'm dead. Sure you are.
Yeah, and then when they arrest you, they're like, "You are dead."
So is like drug trafficking? Is that federal? Is that a federal? I'm sure there's federal laws and state laws and local laws.
International and Interpol starts getting involved with that kind of stuff. But
did you hear about what's happening in the UK?
Oh no, what's going on over there?
Brits are at it again.
They're drinking tea and biscuits.
No, Brits looking to ease their conscience over the involvement in bloody drug wars overseas are now being targeted by cynical drug dealers selling what they claim to be as ethically sourced cocaine.
The what?
Ethically sourced cocaine.
What?
Ethically, I know. I had to read this article a couple of times. Ethically sourced cocaine. Users have revealed a high demand for the so-called woke coke at posh dinner parties and clubs around the UK.
It said woke coke.
Woke coke.
Yeah.
Drug policy expert Neil Woods says, I've been shown ads for environmentally friendly cocaine, but it's nothing. It's a very clear marketing ploy, obviously. He revealed that users were paying through the nose for the gimmick. $435 a gram. I don't know how much this stuff costs.
Holy shit.
That sounds like a lot of money.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's just like slap organic on the side of it and charge $500.
It's organic coke. Woods argued that there was absolutely 100% no way to produce environmentally friendly or ethically sourced cocaine, and it was just another way to fuel the obscene amount of money being generated by the cocaine trade in the UK. Cocaine trade collects almost $5 billion annually. That's a lot of cash, man. There's a
just throw an FDA fucking label on the side of it. Start charging more crap.
You can fake the Rona vaccine certifications. You can, print out a freaking FDA stamp or something. Put an FDA stamp on the outside of your bag of Coke.
Ethically sourced cocaine.
I know I had to say that like 3 times.
I I'm gonna be saying that for the rest of the week now. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. That's all I gotta say. That's all.
The trade inevitably involves bloodshed, the destabilization of communities, and an appalling cycle of violence. If demand goes up, so does production, and the cycle of destruction continues. What you call fair trade cocaine is only going to bring more greed and more bloodshed. What's up, Tyler? Thanks for joining us, man.
Whoever wrote the article forgot to mention human trafficking.
Human trafficking, child labor, not to mention they use all kinds of chemicals and crap, and they stomp the leaves with the
benzene.
Yeah, benzene, gasoline. But hey, it's properly
ether, you name it, whatever it is to get that. So, I mean, if they were the leaves, just the regular coca leaves, it came in like a little hippie bag with a little bow on it. Said, I might believe that. I might.
It's organic coca.
But if it's that white girl, nope.
There's so much garbage in that stuff. I've seen the documentaries, man.
Ugh. Ugh. I don't understand people. I really don't. Every day is that you should have put on that graphic Clown World next to that one.
Clown World? Yeah.
Little, my icons that I run all the time, my little emojis, the clown and the earth. That would have been perfect at that point. This is straight out of Clown World 2.0, 3.0, whatever version we're on now.
I keep getting these messages about your senator or representative is usually actually your state representative is really accessible, and someone said unless they're a Texas Democrat.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, touche. They're gone. So
unless they're a Texas Democrat, they don't want to do the job.
The deal with that is the story. If you've watched the news at all, I live here, so I know what's going on really without having to watch any of the news. The Democrats packed their bags and went to D.C. when the Republicans were going to call for a vote for it's a voting thing. Governor Abbott said that the missing lawmakers will be arrested upon their return to the state. Members of the Texas State House of Representatives who are still in the state can call for the arrests of their colleagues who do not show up to vote. The one caveat is that the arrest has to be made in the state. Once they step back into the state, they will be arrested and brought back to the Capitol, and we will be conducting business, he said. Republicans argue that the voting bill will increase election security and integrity. The Democrats say that it's racist and it would suppress voter turnout of minorities. Among the proposals included in the legislation are measures pushing for new limits on early voting, curbside voting. This is the first year that I've seen curbside voting. You just kind of pull up, and then they wheel out one of those voting machines to your car.
Oh,
that's
because of the coronavirus thing. Yeah.
It was for disabled folks.
That makes sense. Like
legit disabled. Like you're 1,000 years old and you still want to vote. Great. They actually unplug a machine that's hooked to an uninterruptible power supply. They roll it out to the car. This person votes on this voting machine, and then they roll it back into the building. That was pretty cool.
Well, that sounds legit in a sense, I guess.
So the curbside voting, a ban from round-the-clock voting centers, an end to straight ticket voting statewide. I talked about that, I think, last week or the week before. The ballots here in Tarrant County, you can't do a straight ticket ballot anymore. I didn't know that wasn't available statewide. I guess there's some municipalities that still do straight ticket voting. And I think there's going to be they want to have a ban on ballot harvesting by anyone who isn't an election official. I'm not sure about that one, but I heard that was on the list too. So the Democrats call that racist and whatever and bigoted, so they packed up. I think there was probably 50 or 60 of them that
packed up on a plane and flew a charter flight without a mask on, which is an FAA regulation violation. But I would disregard that one.
I don't know, man. I haven't flown in a couple of years, so I guess you have to wear a mask on the airplane still.
It's a chartered flight, yep.
So this is the second time that the Democrats have done this, and I remember the last time that they did that. They all jumped on a bus or something and they went to New Mexico, and it was all having to do with a voter overhaul laws or whatever.
The Texas Democrats, Senate, House, or whatever it is.
So now they're, that's the reason I think they didn't go to like New Mexico is they barely got any national attention when they went to New Mexico, but they're getting all the attention now that they went to Washington D.C. I personally think that they did that just because they can now rub shoulders with, AOC and the Biden staffers and whatnot, and get their photo ops with people. And
well, they're trying to push federal voting laws down. That's what they're really trying to push, which I definitely, I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that. Like, I like some of the idea aspects of it. Like, hey, this is like time limits. This is how it works. And you kind of get like a framework, but you got to have states. The states got to be control that crap. It's just when the federal government starts controlling everything, we're just point.
We don't usually get very good results when the government controls shit.
Everything like the more you can push it down to the local level, the better at that point.
I think so, because it's easier to manage, but then you have this really spread out rules. It's the interpretation of the rules. It's in the spirit of the law. So cities and municipalities will hold their elections the way in which they seem fit. They're all within the law as it's written, but there's a huge difference between the way that they allow, voting in Dallas versus Memphis versus New York City versus, Dubuque, Iowa.
Yep.
You couldn't tell that the rules for voting were written on the same document.
And yes, voting should be very easy. All you should do is have to walk in, do it like the old school days where you take hands up, drop one rock into the pot. That should be that is easy as that.
I think voter turnout in the states it's just really, really low. Even in federal elections, local elections, super duper low. You might get a mayor that's elected with 3,000 votes in a city that has hundreds of thousands of people.
I need to start running for mayor.
Right?
Will you see me in a position of political power?
Stefan's on the city council down in his city in Florida.
I was actually thinking about doing that here in this area, is running for a position for city council somewhere. I don't know what.
I don't know if I would. I don't have a desire for that, because that seems like you are a part of the city's HOA.
Yeah, but see, I'm like, you ever see was it Parks and Rec?
No, I have not.
You know Rob Swanson?
I know who Rob Swanson is.
Okay, that'd be me.
Bacon. Yeah.
Like, government sucks. Just don't spend money on anything.
Captain Wayne Baconator is running for mayor of D's Nuts.
Yeah, he's nuts.
So I don't know, man. It's just I pay attention to who's ambitious enough to run for office, and I make a decision. If I don't know you, I'm not voting for or against you. I'm just not. You don't have to vote in every category. I voted for this last round. I voted for mayor, and I voted for a judge that I knew, and that was it. Those are the only people that I knew on the ballot. So that's what I did. Everything else, I just left a no vote. I'm not gonna throw my vote behind someone because they have an R or a D next to their name. I don't know if I don't know anything about them.
It's my mother. She's all about independent. She don't care if there's a D or an R and she sees like Green Party or Libertarian Party or Independent Party, she vote for them automatically right off the bat.
That's dangerous too.
Well, she's like she despises both Democratic and Republican parties to no extent. So she's just like, I don't care. Just nuclear option,
Not to upset the independents or libertarians in the crowd. That's kind of like in larger municipalities. In smaller municipalities, that might be like a legit vote. There's lots of independent folks in office. For the larger seats, you'll find there's a D or an R, maybe an I. Not necessarily a libertarian.
To see more libertarians up in the government, that'd be pretty cool.
I think it would. I think it would. I mean, we had Spike Cohen on the show, and gosh, it's just an
amazing guy. That's all I gotta say.
He is pretty amazing. It's just that whenever I see a libertarian candidate on the federal level, as far as in the executive branch, I'm just like, you can agree with like 60% of their platform, but it's that other 40% that, and I know it's national. It's a national security thing for me. And a
totally the open borders thing blows my mind too. And I consider myself a libertarian, but when they start talking open borders, like they lose me at that. I'm like, you can't be a sovereign nation without securing at least securing your borders.
You have to secure the borders. Bad shit happens when you have open borders. I mean, try to sneak into Iran.
Exactly. Or North Korea or China
or Mexico. Go into Mexico and try to live it as an illegal. Try to rent an apartment or get medical care or go to school in Mexico as an undocumented immigrant. It's not going to happen.
There's only a few countries in the world that just really don't mind like people just coming without passports. Like I think there's like very few that actually tolerate that crap.
And we talk about all this stuff. I've walked over the Canadian border to use the bathroom once, Deb says. You can't do that now. I heard Trudeau's got that border still locked down for a while. He's not opening it up yet.
Oh, I saw a video the other day that was hilarious as heck. They've got like, I don't know where it was, but there's a border checkpoint in Canada. It's literally just like the streets are connected and everything, but it's just like literally one of them drop gates, And these guys decide, well, screw the drop gate, screw Border Patrol. They kind of like skip you through, like it looks like a church parking lot.
Okay.
And bypass security, just roll through. Just like, all right.
One of my colleagues just went to. He went up into New York in the Buffalo area, and he went and saw, and he's checking off stuff on his bucket list, right? So he went to Niagara Falls. And he said there were so many people up there. And this is on the U.S. side. He couldn't get over to the Canadian side. He said there was just so many people up there. And there's this little, a precipice that you can stand on to go and take pictures and stuff. And he says there was just so many teenage girls out there doing selfies and a lot of foreign tourists of all nationalities. He said that they had to just wait just for people to kind of do their time there and then leave, and then more people would walk up, and there was hundreds of people. Of course, he went over July 4th weekend, so it was kind of busy. I wanted to go see Niagara Falls when it was frozen over.
I've never been up that far north, man. And I lived in the Appalachians of Pennsylvania. I've never been up that way. Farthest north I've been is Erie, I think.
Erie, Pennsylvania. I was living in the Toledo area, so that you're only 4 or 5 hours away. I'm guessing. It's all turnpike. It's all turnpike to Buffalo, man, and just easy to see. Didn't do it. Didn't get around to it. Maybe some other time.
You know about the Toledo War?
No.
Not mentioned. I know this is gonna be like completely off subject, but apparently there was like a border dispute between early Michigan and Ohio over Toledo area, and they had a war, and I think it was President Johnson.
No.
Jackson. one of the early times. He's like, we got to stop this because this is stupid. And he said they gave whatever the territory or disputing around the Toledo area to Ohio, and to make up for it, they gave the upper part of the peninsula, that weird part on the peninsula,
the Upper Peninsula,
to Michigan. Yeah, that's why that's the way it's set up, man. I didn't know about that until my buddy explained it to me, and I was like, holy shit! I looked it up, like that is the most insane thing I've ever heard, but that's the reason why Michigan is split into two spots like that.
That's nuts. You learn something new every day. There was a labor dispute in Lincoln, Nebraska. Did you hear about this one?
No.
This is kind of a good one. And you can't hate on these people, man. You got to have, if you work for a corporation, you need support from your corporation in order to do a good job. You're given a position of being a manager, or this person, was she a district manager? But she had like no support from Burger King corporate. So employees and a general manager from a Nebraska Burger King quit amid deteriorating work conditions and used the restaurant's sign to let the customers know. The sign at the Lincoln, Nebraska Burger King read, "We all quit. Sorry for the inconvenience."
That's one way to do it.
Rachel Flores, who has served as general manager since January, put in her 2 weeks notice, and then 8 other employees did the exact same thing before deciding to post the message on the sign. Flores says, "The staff here have gone through so many district managers since I've been general manager. No one from corporate has come to the store to help me out. They just show up and then they leave. They're in and out." Flores says the restaurant is short-staffed, and she would end up working 50 to 60 hours a week just to keep the store operational. She said at one point they had a broken air conditioner in the kitchen where temperatures reached above 90 degrees. Flores says she had to go to the hospital after her shift after becoming dehydrated. Employees had joked that previous Friday about putting up the message. On Saturday, they actually put it up on one side of the sign. They wanted to put up the sign just to say, sorry, there's really not going to be anyone here. Just kind of a laugh for upper management. So it got put up on Saturday morning before they opened, and I didn't think anyone was going to notice it because we just did one side of the sign, and it went pretty crazy on Facebook, and it went viral. I got a call from my upper management, and they told me that I needed to take it down. So I did. The story continues. Flores was fired later that day. The location is still open, but Burger King has not made a statement on everything.
Oh, see, they all should have just quit. As soon as that manager got fired, they all should be like, we all quit. Figure it out on your own at that point. Walk the hell out, man.
Lock the door, yeah.
Lock the door, hold on to the keys. If you want the keys, come get them.
That's so crappy, man. I mean,
the fast food workers get shit on, man. I'll say that over and over again, and it's just ridiculous. Like these fucking corporations. This is libertarian coming out of me. They should pay these guys more, and they really, really just. Like fucking racket in cash. Like what is it? McDonald's, Burger King. These are multi-billion-dollar companies.
Yeah,
they can't afford to pay their people fucking decent wage. What's wrong with y'all, man?
Yeah, and people pay, franchise fees. If I had, let's say a Chick-fil-A or something, I would want to. If I owned, I would want to pay my people to keep the good people a very decent wage. I don't care about minimum wage. I really don't give a damn about minimum wage because we're not going to be anywhere near that. My first job was a McDonald's job. I think it was like $3.15, $3.75 an hour.
That's your date yourself.
I flip burgers.
I was like, what, 4.25 when I started working?
I flip burgers. I remember I cooked burgers, And I remember that they said you can have a meal. You got to make it yourself. So I made a Big Mac, but it was made out of quarter pounder patties.
There you go.
I remember the ice tasting like French fries. I remember never, ever, 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 ever cleaning the ice machine. I washed a lot of dishes. I was 16 or 17 years old when I had that job. I ended up quitting. It's not because I say I quit. I just fucking didn't show up. I'm just like, this sucks. I stopped going.
I had a couple jobs where I just walked out because they screw me over with either like hours, like you're not working me. Even as a young kid, part time, 20, like most of the law, I think is like 20 hours. I wanted it 20 hours, and I'll be getting like 10, maybe 50. Fuck you, mountain, or working me on days that said I don't want to work. I put a notice in, and I look at my schedule. And on schedule for those days, I'm like,
Deb Poland mentions she goes, average time spent in a fast food restaurant is 3 months before most people quit. That's about how much I lasted.
That's a horrible turnaround, man.
I lasted. It might have been 3 months. It was probably just shy of 3 months. It was probably a couple of weeks before summer vacation, and then my entire summer vacation. That's how long it was. Because at the end of my summer vacation, I stopped going.
My sister put herself through schoolwork in Whataburger.
Okay.
And she worked her way. Well, Whataburger pays their people semi-decent. They're not one of these, like say like Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A pays their employees decent. They want to keep good people around because good people equals good customer service, meaning repeat. You get where I'm going with it. But, repeat customers coming there. Which I think she made herself almost to a general manager, and then she just had to stop because, she was working on her PhD, and she was like, I'm going to go for my PhD. I don't feel like being I think it was a district manager of Whataburger or whatever. She's like, no, I ain't going to work fast food the rest of my life. I'm getting my PhD, and she just left it.
You would think a lot of corporations would be like, you're going to make yourself a better person. I'm going to help you with your education, but a lot of corporations are like, you need if you are doing something in restaurant management or something that makes it valuable for that corporation, then they'll help you with the tuition assistance. My company is the same way.
Well, Taco Bell pays surprisingly enough pays tuition assistance for like younger kids trying to go to college and stuff like that. What's that? Chick-fil-A is really big about that. There's a few of them. McDonald's used to do it. I don't know so much now, but I haven't been. McDonald's, just every time I walk into one, I feel like I got like with that chiggers crawling over me. Nah, I gotta get out of here. It's just grungy, and they just don't take care of shit no more.
All right, everybody, we're gonna take a break just because I have to get set up to have Peyton Howie call in. And so I guess we're gonna take a short break. And we're going to be right back. Okay? Hang in there. This is going to be a great interview. I can't wait. Jot.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio. Nation Radio.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
All right, everybody, we're back for the second hour of Friday Night Freedom. And you know what that means. We've been broadcasting this kind of all day long. We've got Peyton Howie here with us. Thank you very much, Peyton, for taking the time out of your extremely busy schedule to be here. I wrote something, and I really want to read this because I think this personifies exactly what's going on with you. Peyton Howie is on the line with us right now here for Friday Night Freedom. Being in the music business is an absolute grind. The artists that you see on stage or in the videos didn't just wake up one day and could all of a sudden sing well, command stage presence, dress properly, and affect their audience in a positive way. Peyton has been putting in the work. In 2018, she was voted New Country Female Entertainer of the Year, and Traditional Country Female Entertainer of the Year. Peyton's hard work is paying off as she has released her new song titled Freedom. Peyton's video for Freedom has premiered on the Heartland Network and the Country Network. The song Freedom has also been premiered on Spotify. Welcome to the WTF Nation, Peyton. Thank you very so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. So I can't wait to get into this. I guess you're resting up for a big show tomorrow night in San Juan Capistrano, right?
Yeah, I'm playing a show tomorrow night at the Coach House. I just found out a couple hours ago that it's sold out, which I'm super stoked about. I'm opening up for the Highwaymen show, and then I'm a part of the Highwaymen show as well. So I'm like beyond excited to get to be playing there. It's my first time playing the Coach House there, and yeah, it was crazy. I got a text a couple hours ago, sold out, and I was like, oh man. So,
how do you sleep? I mean, you've got all this exciting stuff happening in your life.
Yeah, well, I'm just really grateful to have music in my life that's given me those opportunities to, meet new people and have those little exciting moments and opportunities throughout my life. Congratulations
on those 2 awards. That was 2 years ago, and you've been doing nothing but nose to the grindstone type stuff. I hear a lot of traditional tone in your voice and in your music. With a healthy, it's kind of a healthy dose of your own touch, but it's kind of a traditional with some Peyton in it, I suppose you'd say.
I like that. That's a great description. Yeah, I love the traditional greats. I love, classic country music and that sound. I think it's just like I feel like that's where country was born. That's what it was built on. And so I just want to keep that alive,
That's pretty cool. So you do a lot of work as a guest performer for organizations that are in support of the United States military and or first responders, a lot of times both. What draws you to the military and the first responder community?
I will say my great-grandfather was a World War II veteran, and I have just like this great love and respect for the people that go out and dedicate their entire lives to serve our country. And not only that, but I really have just such a strong love and appreciation for their families as well, because they're sacrificing so much while their loved ones are going out and fighting for our freedom, fighting for us to be able to have the ability to just go and do things that we do every day, and most of the time, honestly, a lot of us take it for granted. And so I want to give whatever I have, and in this case it's music, give it back to them and be able to do something that brings them joy or entertainment or makes them feel something and just speaks to them. And so that's just a huge part of my heart for sure.
So you do a lot of work with American Patriot music?
Yeah, there was a group out in California not too long ago, right before COVID hit, and I was getting ready to actually go out with them. They do this whole thing. It's like a guitar build.
Yeah, the STEM guitar build, yes.
Yeah, and they do like a lot of cool stuff. That's the American Patriot Band, and that's really cool. So I'm actually hoping to go out with them again, because they were going to go out and do a guitar build, and then when COVID happened, they had to push it back a little. But I know when they do it again, I'm definitely going to be going. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to it.
That sounds like a lot of fun. It really, because it is what it sounds like. It's you're building a guitar.
It is, yeah. It's literally like Fender comes in and sponsors all the parts, and they go into local colleges or facilities in the area, and they just bring in all these veterans and some of our veterans that have PTSD and things of that nature. And some of them get to bring in their sons. I've seen some pictures and videos of bringing their families in and stuff. It's kind of cool. And they just get to build their guitar, and then they get to do this dip paint. Forgive me for not knowing what the heck that's even called, but And
I know what you mean.
They teach
yeah.
them how to play it too. It's the coolest thing. They teach them how to play and different chords and stuff like that. And it's the coolest thing to get to see how excited they are, just learn to play like a D chord or a G chord. It's the coolest thing.
Yeah, and you make something with your own hands, and then you get to see it work, and there's a lot of satisfaction in that. It brings a lot of peace of mind.
That's so cool.
So you've got an amazingly beautiful voice. So what came first? Singing, or did you play guitar first? Did you play the keyboard first? What started you on this musical journey?
Well, thank you. When I was young, I've just always loved music. I've had I've always been just like messing around, singing songs, and like always had something going on inside my head that had to do with music. But when I was like real little, my family, they owned like a little mom and pop restaurant, and they used to have local musicians come in and be playing music Friday, Saturday nights. And I'd be like peeking my head around the corner, listening to like all the greats, Reba, Johnny, Hank, like George Strait, and playing all the good stuff. And that's kind of what I grew up on. And as I got older, I of course I was like all into, different kinds of music, classic rock, pop, all that good stuff. But country was just kind of something that stuck with me. It was like, I love the story. I love the song with a story. And that's what country music is for me. And so I just want to add to that. I want to take, things that I feel that I've learned along the way, stories that I feel that I've heard from other people, or stories that have happened in my life, and put them to music and just share them with people. So since then, I've just kind of always loved music, but I didn't learn. I started teaching myself to play guitar around like 16 is when I got my very first guitar. And I've just been kind of teaching myself and learning along the way.
Do you remember what kind it was?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was a Luna Heart Song edition. I think it was maybe like a $200 guitar. And it's kind of funny because it had a little emblem carved into it, and it was like a little like music note heart. And I actually have it tattooed on my shoulder right here.
Oh, cool.
Because it was a cute guitar and everything. It was like $200, and I figured like as I started playing shows that required a bit more of I would say
a professional sounding instrument,
more expensive equipment. I was like, all right, I got to stop playing this little guitar. And so I got some new guitar, but I figured I wanted to always kind of keep a piece of like my very first guitar with me.
But you love that guitar because because the D string was like it was like totally out of tune, and you knew it, and so you tried to compensate. Yeah, it's got those little idiosyncrasies.
Like that. Yeah, I will say I don't even know how. I remember like playing a couple of shows, and I remember when I first started playing, gigs, and I was like real young, and I had someone say to me, they're like, "So when was the last time you changed your strings?" And I was like, "You're supposed to do that?" And I was like a total goof, but I was real young, and I didn't know that. But now I probably change my strings like every week and a half.
Yeah, it took me a long time. I play guitar as well, not as well as you do, but I'm fine because it sounds good to me. So tell me about the time that you opened up for Carrie Underwood, or you upstaged Carrie Underwood.
Well, I didn't open up for her. That's still
I was trying.
Big life goal there.
I was trying to make it big and huge, and you kind of upstaged her though.
Well, it went a little something like this. When I was real young, I was 5. And my mom took me to my first concert. I feel like everyone can remember their first concert. Everyone knows that feeling. And it was a Carrie Underwood concert. And she was on her Some Hearts tour right after like Idol and everything. And to this day, Some Hearts is still my favorite album of hers. I don't care what anybody says. That's my favorite. And I was like kind of in the aisle, just kind of like dancing around, and the lights were like panning across. And it like stopped on me in the aisle. And so she like knelt down, she stopped singing, and she tells her like bodyguard by the stage, "Oh, go get that little girl." So he came over.
So it was a child abduction. It was a child abduction.
Yeah, I know, right? It was so funny because he asked my mom, "Can I bring your daughter up on stage? Carrie wants your daughter up on stage." And my mom's like, "Yeah, sure." And then as soon as this guy starts taking me up on the stage, my mom's like, "Oh shoot, like I just totally let this guy take my kid." So it was anyway, it ended up being fine. But he brought me up on there, on stage with her, and she was like holding my hand and singing, and it was like I got to see like everybody's faces just jamming out to music, and it was the coolest thing to get to see just everyone come to life with just all like music. It's just, like music is such a universal thing. Everyone kind of connects over something, even like though like hundreds of people don't even know each other, they all have that one thing in common. And so
totally,
that's kind of what I took away from that.
So what? I watched your video, Freedom, like at least 1,700 times. And
really? That's a lot.
I love it. I love it. It's a really cool song. It's a short song, but it's very short, sweet, and to the point. I live in Fort Worth, Texas, and I couldn't help but notice that you have a connection maybe to Willis, Texas, because that's the Willis Wildcats field that you were on.
Yes, that is. Yeah, it was.
Do you have a connection to Willis? Do you have a connection to Willis?
I do. It's kind of funny because, I don't know, when I first because I started, playing shows out in that area, Conroe, Texas, and I've been my family lives in Texas, and so I travel a lot between Texas and Nashville, and now that, I'm playing some bigger shows out in California too. And, we were talking with a couple people in the area, and it just kind of happened that I had a connection there. And then I started like hanging out with some of the people that were in my video. And so then like the guy that was in my video, the love interest, it's kind of funny. If you didn't know, fun fact, his name is also Peyton, spelled the exact same way. And
hey, Peyton, come here. What?
Yeah, exactly. Right. It was real funny because we were getting to know each other. Like we would go out and stuff and, talk to each other. And we were like, okay, we don't want this to be awkward on set. And so he's a really cool guy. He's really sweet. And he was on the football team. So, yeah, kind of had a connection with the football team and the coaches there. And he's a really sweet guy. So, yeah.
That was a really great video. I see that you have a guitar.
I do.
Were you wanting to play a song? Or do you just,
well,
is it a
like
test? We would love for you to play the guitar for us.
All right. I would love to play the guitar for you. So I'll play some Freedom for you guys. So.
Excellent. Love this song.
All right,
1701.
Hey, there you go. Well, if y'all are listening, this is my new single, Freedom. It's out everywhere now, and I hope y'all like it. Here we go. Like freedom, freedom. First time driving daddy's old Ford.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I really love that song.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So how did you... I imagined that it was like you and your friends sitting around talking about what makes you, when I say the word freedom, what makes you think of freedom. And you guys just kind of wrote down this big old list. And then you wrote a song around that list. Am I far off?
I mean, that was pretty close. I wrote that song with my good friends and co-writers, Michael Austin, Eric Halbig, and Joe Yeager out in Nashville, Tennessee. We were all sitting around, and it's kind of funny because I will say, living in the world that we live in today, a lot of people believe a lot of different things, and a lot of people feel a lot of different things about, the country that we live in. And I was sitting down and speaking my mind on what I believe. And I will say that, like, the people in the room that we were all sitting there writing this song, a lot of us had, different, like, beliefs, and we all thought different things, but we were all, brought together by those few things that we talked about in the song. Like, there's nothing more American than talking about someone going out and giving of themselves and giving of their life to fight for freedom for someone that they don't even know. Like, I'm telling you, like, there's people out there that are fighting for my freedom and your freedom that don't even know who we are. They don't know our names or anything like that. And I think, to me, that is freedom. That's what makes me feel free. And the fact that we grow up in a country that's like, I get to, have my first kiss on a football field under the Friday night lights, because we live in America. Or because, like, I turned 16 and my dad gives me the keys to my truck, and he's like, be careful, and I'm watching him in the rearview mirror get smaller and smaller as I'm driving away by myself. That's like, that feels like freedom. And that's what I'm saying, is sitting in the room with those people, and we were all writing, even though we all felt different things about our country, especially in today's world, we all looked at those things, and that does feel like freedom. And I don't think anyone can argue with that. So
you know what feels more like freedom is you can sit in a room with a bunch of people that have different opinions, and you still leave there with a polished product that sounds fantastic, and you don't hate each other.
Right. And that's what we were all talking about. We're like, the fact, what feels like freedom? We were saying, we're like, what feels like freedom is the fact that we can all sit here and write a song and put it out and I'll just have a blast about it, and none of us agreed. It was great. It was great.
So you've worked, you're a very talented person. How did you get your start? I mean, when did you say, okay, my name's Peyton Howie, and I want to be a country star? How did you take that first step? You're a very young lady, so it's not like you're a 30-year-old person who wants to do music, which would be understandable. But you've come such a long way in such a very short amount of time. You must have had a serious foundation of support behind you. Can you tell me about that?
You. Yeah, you're right. Well, and you're not wrong. I mean, like my family and my friends and the people that I've met just along the way, and the musicians that I've gotten to just like sit at the feet at and just learn from graciously, just them just wanting to teach me or show me or guide me. Like all those people in my life, definitely couldn't have done it without them, especially me being a very creative, artistic person. I don't always feel like, okay, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. and get everything done. Like I can't do that, So having the support of those people is like, I couldn't have done it without any of like that. I can't be doing music without any of those people. And, that the way I kind of got my start with music, knowing that I was going to do it for sure, was my whole life I worked up to have a softball scholarship. And when I graduated high school, I committed to play Division II softball at a collegiate on a collegiate team in Colorado.
Nice.
And I was like, this is my dream, this is what I worked for. And at the same time, I was like, and I really like music, And during my freshman year of college, playing on my college team, I put out some music and it started doing really well. And I was starting to travel. I was a full-time musician, a full-time college athlete, and a full-time college student. And I will say I probably slept like 4 hours that whole year, but it was so worth it. And I was getting to do everything that I loved, but I kind of had to pick one or the other.
God, you're going to burn yourself out.
Yeah, well, right. And it was hard because I was able to halfway do everything. I was able to do everything I wanted to do, but I was only doing it like 50%. Like, I wasn't the best softball player. I wasn't the best musician. I wasn't able to write as much. I wasn't as creative. I was not, I wasn't like the best at everything. And so that's kind of the thing, is I had to pick one. And so I'm still pursuing my college degree.
Good.
But I'm no longer playing softball. And I realized that after I gave up my scholarship, after I was like, I pretty much worked for this since like T-ball, but I love music. And if I'm going to give up something that important, I'm going to make sure that I put in everything for music and give it my all, because I know that no matter what I end up doing, I want it to be in the music industry, because it's like, it's real competitive. It's really crazy. But it's also really fun. So that's what I want to do. And that's kind of where I decided. I was like, that's what I'm doing.
I've got a couple of follow-up questions for that, and we'll get to that in a second. And as a parent of two daughters, how did your parents react to that?
Well, they were very like supportive. They were like, like if that's what you want to do, like do it. I will say my parents are always like, they always be like, oh, we kind of miss you playing, and I'll be like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I will say I have not opened my softball bag since my last game. I cried. I've cried. It was so sad. But I have not touched my gear since.
Probably got some pretty nasty laundry inside there.
Oh no, I clean the clothes. I meant like my gear, like my bat or helmet or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that would be pretty gross. But I promise it was good.
What position did you play?
So I was a catcher and I played center field.
And you loved it. I mean, obviously you loved it. You got a scholarship for it.
I really did. It was like, I met so many cool people, and it's kind of cool because a lot of my teammates from my old high school or travel or now my college team, they're really supportive of my music, and it's really cool to get to talk to them. They're like, hey, like, how's it going? And so it all worked out, and I do feel like I made the right decision with that. But it was definitely probably the one that was like, this is a hard decision. If I choose music, then I have to, give it my all.
And you got to choose something and go with it. And the thing is, you made that choice, and then these lockdowns started happening. So your dream was kind of hampered by all the lockdown thing that was going on. How did you make it through that?
Well, I will say something that I looked at that, was real interesting is when I stopped playing softball and I started doing music, yes, there was a lot of limitations on being able to play music, but I did still have social media. And when I look back at it, my team quit playing. All of the seniors that were on my team my freshman year, they all missed their senior season. And all of the girls in my my year, my I don't want to say grade, but you know what I'm saying, that were there when I was a freshman, they all didn't really even end up playing a full season till their junior year. And so I looking at it now, like I probably wouldn't have, you know, gotten to play much ball anyway, but I still had social media during that time of, you know, COVID and everything. And I mean, I was able to connect with people on live streams, and I did a virtual release party for one of my singles even. And there was still some venues that were having live music out there, and it was, you know, we got through it. And a lot of the time I spent out in Texas, and Texas is a whole nother world. So everything ended up being all right.
So being in the music industry as you, I mean, you're a young female. That's obvious. Have you had to overcome any obstacles from being such a young performer, a very young, very talented performer?
Thank you.
In the big industry that is Nashville, that is country music?
I will say I know there's lots of stories, and I know there's lots of things that people say about being a female or being a young artist in the industry and going out and doing your thing. I've honestly just been super lucky. You know, I've been super lucky to have such a great tribe and community of people that have just been like, hey, like, I want to be there for you, or hey, I want to help you, and like taking me like under their wing in a way, because I've not had to experience as many like hardships as I've heard of so many other people having to go through as a young artist or a female artist in the industry. And I've just been really, really lucky to kind of just have so many people around me that have been really supportive and really helpful, and teaching me to do the same thing. Like, I want to be that for somebody else too. Like, I meet some young artists, I meet some young girls that are like, you know, wanting to play music, and I'm like, hey, I want to be there for you the way that other people were there for me. So I've been kind of lucky in that area.
To be a mentor for the up and comers, as you were, but you're up and coming. I mean, it's all this big sliding scale.
It really is, because I mean, it's like, it really does. It takes like a village, you know. And every time I meet somebody that's just super loving and supportive that I like just met, it's so crazy how, like, you know, from where I come from, like, I believe that, you know, God puts those kind of people in your life, and it's just kind of like, you know, well, where did you come from?
There's no coincidences, right? I mean, because I imagine it's especially hard because it's Peyton Howie. It's not Peyton Howie and the band. It's like you're a solo artist.
Yeah, it is that way. I know I am playing a lot, and it's like, if I didn't have that group, like that support group, like family, friends, and, you know, people that I would consider family now, I wouldn't be able to, you know, create the art that I do or do the things that I love to do. And I mean, like, that's the whole reason I'm so grateful for all that. And I mean, I feel really lucky. I do. I haven't had any of those like awful experiences. Like,
I'm very happy for that. I mean, do you have to turn people away? Like, I want to be the slide guitar player for Peyton Howie. No, we got Dolly Parton's a slide guitar player. You know, how do you?
It's crazy because like I've actually not had to ever do like turn people away. Like,
do you have people? You've got people to turn them away, don't you?
Well, not even that. I've just had such great, like, I've had great opportunities and connections. Like, so one of the writers on Freedom and the entire EP that I'm releasing at the end of this year, his name is Eric Halbig, and he's the lead guitarist for Sarah Evans. And he literally, like, I had Reba's steel player, I had Dolly's bass player that played with Hank and Garth, and Billy Noble played keys for Tim McGraw, and all those super talented guys were on my EP, to include Freedom. So when you said that, it's kind of funny because Dolly's bass player was literally on my EP. It's crazy.
That's awesome. I mean, you must have an extremely nice, very good work ethic. All these other accomplished musicians aren't going to, you know, attach their hitch to you and go, okay, yeah, take us somewhere. Let's do something. If they didn't believe you knew. And I think that's a testament to your work ethic, your art, your quality of art. And gosh, I think that's such a great thing to have whether you realize it or not, it's all this support for people wanting to be with you, to work with you. Just like, hey, let's do something. Let's do a project.
Yeah, I'm really grateful to have those kinds of people that are like, hey, like, let's sit down and write, and that like believe in me enough to want to put their name on something that I'm putting out there. Like, I'm grateful for that, and I'm definitely, gonna keep working hard at it and getting as far as I can with what I'm doing. So
I've thought about this interview all day, and I'm like, okay, Peyton, she's
me too.
young lady, and she's all country, but something in the back of my mind tells me when she's driving around town in her Ford F-150 and she's doing her thing and she's just out by herself, she's got to have something else on her playlist that is not country.
All right. You asking?
Yeah, I'm asking. I mean, what do you have on your playlist that isn't country? You got some Tech Nine on there or some AC/DC?
Tech Nine. You're right. I honestly do. Like, if I had to say, like, and I always tell my family this, and they always like laugh at me, but if I didn't sing country music, I would want to be like in a rock band. Like, I love classic rock. I love classic music, from the air, like Aerosmith or like AC/DC, you know what I'm saying? Like Poison. I love listening to like Tom Petty. Like, I love all that stuff. That's like, oof. I grew up on that stuff too, and I think, country comes from such a long line of different kinds of music, and I do believe that classic rock is somewhere in there. And so
there's a lot of borders that do cross between country and rock and roll, and I love it. Hank Jr. kind of breached that divide.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I would say probably the classic rock. What about you? I bet you probably got like some Justin Bieber on there.
I don't have any Justin Bieber, but I'm really I'm a metal guy. I grew up like in Iron Maiden. I really like Iron Maiden. I love Dream Theater. I think those are my go-tos. But I do have Keith Urban.
Keith Urban.
And I do like country music. Maddie and Tay, I like one of their songs. I haven't heard all of them. Girl in a Country Song. I like that song.
Keep going. Yeah, it's catchy.
It is catchy. So I think we can. Tech Nine. I've got a good half of my playlist is Tech Nine stuff.
Oh yeah, all right, that's cool.
And it's if you looked at me, you couldn't guess what kind of music I listen to. So.
Well, it's funny when you said metal.
Why was it funny?
Well, it's funny because I'm gonna be real right now. I can't even see you right now, so I don't know what metal. I don't know. I didn't think that you would listen to metal just from like listening to your voice, but that's pretty cool.
No, it was all. I mean, when I was growing up, it was all Ted Nugent, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, and that's always stuck with me. I like some of the newer stuff. Bullet for My Valentine.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's but then I'll get into the country thing and with the Keith Urban stuff, which is that really country, or is that just rock with a?
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of different branches of country, and I will say, having been in Texas a lot in the last year or so, I've really learned to just love red dirt country, and I mean it's a whole different genre. I would say Texas country. And you hear of lots of artists from Texas, that just totally are the number one artist in Texas, and then you go out to different places like Nashville, and they're like, "Who's that?"
Or they're like, "We don't want to hear that."
Well, yeah, and it's weird because I love both, to be quite honest with you. But it's crazy to me. I'm really learning to love Texas country because I hadn't heard a lot of it. Not being raised in Texas, I wasn't raised on Texas country, so coming out here and listening to it, I'm like, man, I love it. It's got this total rock vibe to it.
Yeah, we're kind of cool like that.
Very cool.
So
I love it.
I've looked at your tour schedule. You're super, super busy. When you're not performing, writing or recording music, what do you like to do to blow off steam?
Oh, to blow off steam. Well, I will say I do like to drive around in my truck. That's kind of obvious. I love to go off-roading and stuff, and that's probably one of my favorite things to do. But other than that, I really like to go jet skiing, with my friends and stuff. We'll go out on the lake and just chase chase wake boats and all that stuff. So that's probably one of my favorite things, to be out on the lake, just chilling.
That's really important. I mean, because you're on a grind. You've got this schedule, and I'm going to get to that in a second. You got to take a break. You got to give your mind some kind, and this goes for all veterans, which is the most of our audience here. You got to find a way to just disconnect, decompress, get yourself back together, reset, and then get back to it. You got to know how to take a break.
Yeah. And I feel like it's important to like have a place to draw draw from with creativity, have a place to just kind of observe and step outside of like the work world for a little bit. And
you can't write songs if you don't
right.
experience things. Yes, that's a great point.
Yeah, I have the opportunity to do that sometimes. I'm just like chilling or hanging out with my friends or just talking about like getting back to like normal life, and it's like, oh yeah, let's write a song about that,
Okay, so you're a country star, and then you're a human, and then you go back to country music performer, and then you're a human again. You got to go back to society.
It's always crazy when like some of the worlds that I feel like everybody, and I'm sure you can totally relate to this, like we all have like these different worlds like in our life, like I have like my family world, I have my music world, and it's kind of funny when one of those collides and you have like some of your friends come down to a show and they're like,
oh my gosh.
Right. It's crazy.
So tomorrow night you're going to be playing with the Highwaymen in San Juan Capistrano. Is that a city? Is that the name of the city?
Yeah.
That is such a huge name for a city.
I mean, yeah, it really is. I don't know. I've always just kind of thought it was really sounded very fancy, but
it is. It sounds kind of like
pretty fancy name.
It's very bougie for a city name.
It's bougie. It's very bougie.
But then you come to Texas for a 9-show stretch. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, I will say I've gotten to play a lot of different places in the years that I've been playing shows, and man, Texas is probably, I gotta say, is one of my favorite places to play because, man, people are they just love music. They have such a great appreciation for not just, music, but not just country music, but like original music, It's weird because, a lot of the times like you're playing shows and you'll always get the person that's like, oh, hey, play Sweet Home Alabama. And you're like, yeah, sure, man, of course, anything for you. And then you have like some of those people, and I've met like 90% of them out in Texas. And they're like, hey, like play me an original song, play me something you wrote. And it's crazy because it's like, they just have like this desire to hear
something new. Show me something you did.
Yeah, something original. And I love that.
That's a really big pat on the back. We like what you've done so far. Show me something that you've done.
Yeah, I know. That's like, I feel really appreciated when like someone does that. It's like, wow, I think it's cool when people like want to hear different kinds of, art in the form of a song.
So after Texas, after 9 shows, what I appreciate about your schedule is I see like a show and then another show, and then you get like 2 days off, and then another show, and then another show, and then a couple of days off. Was that because of you, or is that just the way that things kind of turned out?
I will say, a lot of the time I play a lot of shows, and a lot of the time I just am playing shows, just as many as I can. And sometimes I'll be playing like a whole stretch of shows, and I'm like, man, I've been playing for a while. I kind of need to stop for a little bit, just because it's, you gotta let your voice rest, or my fingers are bleeding or something. But it's just like, I love it so much that sometimes like I don't even realize that I'm playing like, 11 hours straight.
Do you have to have a person like,
or whatever?
Do you have someone like a manager that says, okay, Peyton, we need to take a break here. Just take a breath.
Well, I mean, I have a team that I'm working with. I have a team that I work with, but as right now, I mean, I've worked with people in the past, but right now I'm just like, my mom is my manager. She manages,
she's
a
your
lot
mom.
of the stuff that I do. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of like, it's nice to have like family that's on your side and have people that are, kind of understand every aspect of your life and not just the business aspect of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm really grateful for. And I know that it's like, kind of interesting. I'm moving this over a little bit right here. There we go.
So after you conquer Texas this next month, you're going to go over to Missouri, and you got picked up by Freedom Jam. You got picked up by Freedom Jam, which is really awesome.
I did, yeah. Freedom Jam, I did that show not too long ago. Last year, I did Freedom Jam, and it was super fun. Walker County was the headliner, and now it's insane because they're on tour with Old Dominion, and they're like so amazingly talented and super sweet. Like they were telling me, like, oh goodness, hello, we're gonna fix that.
We're all broke.
I know, something broke there. I think we fixed it. There we go. I don't know what happened there. It was very strange. All right. Anyway, yeah, Freedom Jam, that was a show that I played last year with Walker County as the headliner. And I got to open up for them, and they were super cool. Like, I met them backstage, and they're like, can we take a picture with you? And I was like, can I take a picture with you? Like, they were super sweet girls. And, like, it's super cool because I'm pretty sure, like, their lead guitarist is their dad. And they're totally just, like, it's a total family affair. And they're just, like, totally, like, on point. Their harmonies are amazing. And they're super talented. So it was cool to meet them. And then this year, I know we have a huge lineup of artists that are very talented. And I'm really excited to get to meet a lot of our veterans and servicemen and women. And we have first responders that come out as well for the whole event. So it's really cool. So I'm looking forward to it this year, end of August.
I'm really happy you got picked up by Freedom Jam. But just to talk about Freedom Jam, all proceeds for this show are going to Operation Triage, which is to benefit veterans, active military, and first responders. So that just goes towards your fight to support Americans fighters and first responders.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool, like we were talking about. Sometimes you just kind of need to get away or kind of like refresh. That's what they do is they use the funds that we're raising at that show they're building like a facility for them to go and just kind of like chill out or have like a little vacation as they call it, or and then the other like portion of the proceeds they go towards making adjustments to some of their houses, like if they have needs for like to widen the doors for like handicap or ramps and things like that. So,
yeah, handicap entrances and
right.
So you got a new EP dropping soon. Is there a name for that EP? You got a name for that? You got a badass name for the EP?
Not yet. We're kind of keeping that on the down low, but it's coming out very soon, and I'm really excited about it because like I've only released 2 songs off the EP, and it feels like I'm just holding on to these songs, and I just want to like put them out there for everyone to hear, but I have to be very slow drip on the EP. But I have another one, my third single from the EP is coming out in the summer.
How many songs are on the EP?
Well, there's 5 right now, but I mean, just a little sneak peek or secret. I've been talking with my team about adding possibly another one to it.
Do it.
Yeah, I know I want to. I'm really wanting to. I know because we finished the project and we just were like, it's great. We love it. It's perfect. It tells a great story. It's it's solid. And then like a couple months later, I was just sitting there and I was like, I really want to add one more. Like because I love getting to put together this project to share with people. And so far, I've only released singles, and then Freedom was the first music video that I had put out. So I'm really wanting to either add another song or just get started on another project right away because I'm in love with the process.
This is my question, just because for my curiosity. How do you like the studio process?
I love it. I think it's fun. I mean, I've done 2 different kinds. Like I know sometimes people will do it where they they track vocals and then they do like one instrument at a time. Yeah. I've done that before. And then with this
it would seem to me that would be frustrating. Hey, okay, 4 guys, we need you guys to sing ooh wee ooh, and then like all day long for 8 hours. Just sing that until we get it right.
8 hours straight. Yeah, I mean, I will say that it's not frustrating. It does take a little bit longer, and I will say that when I did do that style of recording, it was on my first few singles. So that was, I didn't really know any better at that point, but with this last EP and, you know, the singles to include Run Boy Run and Freedom, we did it with just like full band in the studio, all those talented musicians I mentioned earlier, all in one place. Like, I'm sure you can just imagine the synergy, and I'm just standing there like what?
You're like,
I'm
Peyton,
so excited
okay,
to go out
cut.
here and play my
Peyton, you missed your cue. You got to sing now.
I know, right? I don't even care. Like, they were all there playing the music, and
It's like you're at a concert.
I was like super humbled to get to just be there and have them like playing, and just the creativity that they all gave off. Because like, it's not just like, okay, here's the sheet, play this note, this note, this note. It's like, hey, this is the song, put your like creative touch on it. And that's exactly what I wanted, and that's exactly what they did.
Yes, I think that's the best.
Yeah, it was great.
So where can we go and find you on social media? You are so busy.
Well, I mean, I got my Instagram, Peyton Howie Music, Payton. And then my Facebook is the same, Peyton Howie Music. I got all the socials all over the place. And then I have a website, PeytonHowie.com, with a list of all my shows, merchandise, and then also I have my Spotify too, my Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff. And Freedom is up there.
You were actually premiered. You were premiered on Spotify with Freedom.
Yeah, so Freedom, I was really excited because I got put on 2 Spotify editorial playlists with Freedom. I got on New Music Nashville and Fresh Finds Country, which was really cool because those playlists are, you know, it's like a high traffic.
Are they the ones? Those are the ones you want to be on? Okay.
Yeah, I was super humbled to get to be put on those playlists. I was really excited about it too. I remember seeing it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. So, yeah, I was excited about that one for sure.
Oh, Peyton, I sincerely appreciate you taking the time out of your super busy schedule to be with us tonight here on WTF Nation Radio.
Me.
If you had anything, and I had this, I deleted it, and it seemed like a silly question, but if you could tell the world anything right now, what would it be?
Tell the world anything right now.
Anything.
Man, that's a very broad question.
It is very broad.
I would say I think a lot of the time people don't do things, or they like hold things back because they're feeling a certain way, and I would say life is way too short to do that. So if you want to do something, or you feel like something's right, or you have something that you've been dying to go do it, because life is over before you know it, and life is really short. So I think go out and do those things, and like, I think live instead of, you know, just existing. That's my advice to the world.
That's really deep. It really is deep.
I think it's really general statement.
You've got
to be fair, I was just coming back to your general question, but I was like, I would say that's one thing that I think a lot of people need to hear, including myself sometimes. Like, don't exist, but live.
What?
You know, go out and live life. Don't just exist and then just like do the same thing every day, because there's so many cool things going on in the world and so many cool opportunities. And yeah, you know, it might take a little bit to get there, but I mean, you never know if you don't try.
Or it's more like, you know, try, and if you fail, okay, back up, regroup, and try again.
Right, yeah.
Just because you try doesn't mean you're going to succeed.
Right, and at least you tried. I mean, I would rather know that I tried and, you know, didn't make it than didn't even try and didn't make it, and not knowing if I ever would have made it.
Peyton, I cannot wait to see Carrie Underwood open up for you.
No, that's a heck of a compliment, but I mean, I don't know about that.
I've had such an amazing week digesting your music, your video, and just your thank you video for your California family. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm just video. You have such a great. It's a family, and you put it the perfect way. It's a family, your California family, and I don't know why that was made. That was just a thank you for you moved out of California, or how was that made?
Well, I will say I was born and raised out in California, and I hadn't been back in over a year and a half or so, just because of, you know, with COVID and everything, and I was playing shows, and with the Old Town Music Festival there. It was in my hometown. I got to open up for Chris Jansen, the band Perry, Billy Ray Cyrus. It was like huge. Walker Hayes and
Billy Ray Cyrus is a serious. He's a great dude.
He was like crazy up there. He was just like totally killing it.
I've heard lots of good things just from a personal standpoint about Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah, no, he put on a great show and people were loving it. And he was just being himself up there. It was real cool. I think he covered Folsom Prison and stuff. And it was like,
no way.
Oh yeah, he was like totally killing the show. So they had that show in my hometown where I grew up. And so I came back to play that festival. And I played a couple other shows around the area within a span of 2 weeks. So I came out and did like a West Coast tour. And I wanted to do a recap video because I got to see a lot of like, family friends and, people that I used to jam with when I was like 15 years old, teaching myself how to play my little guitar. And so it was real cool to just come back and get to jam with everybody again and play some shows and meet some new people too. And so I put that video together myself, just like I wanted to make a recap video of all like the fun things that we did out there and all the shows. So,
and I really think it's very important to show appreciation for your fans. And when people come up and say, "Hey, oh my gosh, Peyton, that was a great show," and it's like, really, I mean, you want to be that person. I mean, you'll meet them once in their life, but they're going to meet you.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I wanted to do something that was like unique. So at the Old Time Music Festival, I wore white pants, and I was like,
and they were signing them. I saw the videos of them signing your pants. I'm like, this is awesome.
It was so cool because then like I would meet new people that were like, oh, hey, we came out to see you, or like we saw you on like this, or we saw you on that, like that I hadn't known, but like that I didn't know or haven't met before. And then I was like, can you sign my pants? Like, and then they're like, really? And getting to take pictures. It was so much fun.
And you save those pants and put them up like later.
Yeah, I know. I saved them. I'm like, I'm going to save them. I'm going to put them up somewhere like in my home studio or something just to have as like a memory.
We have a comment that says from Charles Phipps that says, I told a friend of mine to rediscover life, rediscover how and why to live and not just go through all the motions. Good advice for anyone, especially for those that are struggling with PTSD and trying to find out where you fit in civilian life.
I think that's so true. I think because I know like especially for our veterans and, our military and people that have PTSD, I think and just people in general, we all go through different seasons of life and you have to rediscover, your reasons to wake up in the morning. And I think, life goes on and things change. Things change a lot of the time. And sometimes there's things that we can't control. So if you take control of the things that you can control, you know that you're doing your best and you know that you find joy in things that you can find joy in. And I know it's like, I would say it's definitely like much harder for some people than others, but
right.
I think there's always something you find in life that brings you joy. And I mean, me personally, I find joy in knowing like that we have like our military and our first responders. So thank you.
Peyton, it has been a pleasure to to be here for you. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Well, thank you for having me. This was a really fun show.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, and you are welcome back anytime. And I'm probably going to hit you up in, let me say, 6 months, 8 months, or whatever after your EP drops.
All right,
and we're gonna see how things go.
Sure. Thank you,
Peyton Howie, everybody. Thank you very much, Peyton.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. This is Koz at WTF Nation Radio, and we have reached the end of our time here. And much thanks to Ms. Peyton Howie for taking. If you could see her schedule, if you go to PeytonHowie.com, you can see her tour schedule, and she is extremely busy. She's going to be doing a show in California tomorrow, and then she's on to Texas for a 9-show stretch, and then on to Missouri, and sometime in there she's going to sleep or eat or something. So thank you all very much for hanging out with us, and don't forget to tune in on Tuesday. Let me pull up that graphic here. We're going to have Jonathan Frakes, Commander. Riker is going to be on the show with the Pop Culture Warrior. So,
Number one
is going to be on the show. How'd you like that, man?
That's really good, man.
Oh,
Really good.
she is so grounded. She seems like an old soul. She has an old soul type of mentality to the way that she approaches or attacks life. And she attacks life, dude. She is just amazing. It's amazing to me. It's just amazing.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of more. She's a go-getter, and I like seeing that. I wish there was a lot more people out there that were like that.
With the attitude, and it's the attitude. It's all about the attitude. Because just because you do something doesn't mean you're going to succeed at it. You might try at things like 8 or 10 times and fail, but then that 11th time or 12th time, you're going to succeed, and it's going to be just awesome. Do you think that Elon Musk succeeded on his first try at anything? Jeff Bezos, the first time? Jeff Bezos actually got, a loan from his parents to start Amazon.
No, and now he's the richest man.
And now he's fixing to go to not orbit, space. All right, so I guess we're going to sign off here. You got any parting words of wisdom?
Yeah, don't do anything stupid this weekend. Stay safe. Don't drink, drive. Don't smoke crack. Don't first date and all that whole 9 yards. Be good, people. Be good.
Just be good to folks. Be good to folks. Thank you all for joining us. This is Koz, and we are going to we're going to be out of here. Thank y'all.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
Wear a condom? We're in Fayetteville. No one gets STDs.
Figure out how that works.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Is it necessary for me to drink?
In radio, WTF Nation Radio.